And so as I got better, he got better. And as he got better, I got better. And things escalated. And I am so happy to say now that my little boy that could not leave our home, is out in the world. I came with a lot of desperation in my heart, but a tiny flicker of hope, because I had a lot of faith that there was possibility for myself and for my son. My son is also autistic. He just turned 8 2 weeks ago. My health was suffering, and his little body was in constant torment, to the point where we had not been able to leave our home in like 4.5 years without a 3-hour ordeal to get out the door. And so during that time, I had given up my business, my career, my relationship was suffering, but I knew that inside this tortured little body, there was possibility. And I just had to figure out why. Now, I couldn't rely on therapists and therapies and medications because my son would not participate, and it created more torment in his little body. So I knew when I came in February that something was happening when I was meditating. It was happening for me. And so if it could happen for me, it could possibly happen for him. And
whoa, that's a new possibility. Go ahead.
And so I wanted to figure out what was happening for me so that I could figure out how to do it for him. So I came with a big notebook and a lot of nervousness, because I had not been away from him, not even in the bathroom, not even for hardly 5 minutes. We were attached at the hip, literally. And so it was a huge accomplishment to come to this, and I was quite worried about him being gone. But I came, and I had my notebook, and I took vigorous notes. When you started to speak about the science behind what was happening, my heart lit on fire, because I knew, I have notes, this is going to heal Sam. I know this will work. And I knew it. That little tiny flicker of hope became a little bit bigger flame. And by the time I went home, I was already loving my meditations because they made me feel so good when nothing else did. I went home and I approached this with a burning desire in my heart. I used to have to hold my son, and he's a big boy, and I'm a small person. I used to have to hold him tight in my arms, sometimes for 2 or 3 hours to get 1 hour of sleep out of that boy. And I would sit there and I would do it, because 1 hour of sleep was everything to me. So I decided that instead of sitting there holding him in desperation and struggle, that I was going to sit there and hold him in love. And I was going to hold him in possibility. And I'm not telling you, every time I was sitting there for 2 or 3 hours to get 1 hour of sleep, I was in total bliss. I went from anger to fear to doubt to a little bit of love. And then I went back to fear, and then I went to, maybe a little bit more love. But over time, and a very short time, my son started asking to just lie beside me. He didn't need me to squeeze him anymore. And he started to sleep for more than 2 hours. He slept for 4.5 hours. I thought he died. I thought I died. I woke up. We were still alive. So I was like, hey, this is great. I'm going to do this more. So I would just lie. I laid down beside him. It's true.
You're doing fine.
I wasn't sitting. I was laying down. I laid down beside him, and I would just send him my hopes for him. And it was working really well. You know, the sleep was extending, and he seemed happier. And I remember in one moment of doubt, I was thinking, Renee, don't do that. This is working. Why are you doubting again? And I thought, if I can just bring up an image of him in one of his happiest moments, and they were still pretty fleeting, that I could imagine his little face when he was regulated and he was happy. I remember the day he built this little Lego creation, and he was showing me, and he was so proud of his work, and he was so calm, and he had a little smile on his face, and he was looking at me, and he had that little twinkle in his eye, he was so proud of himself. And so I pulled that image into my mind, And I thought, my boy is so beautiful. My boy is not broken. And I'm going to think of him like this. Instead of all of these challenges that we have, I'm going to think of this moment, even though it's fleeting, and I'm going to grow it because I know it's possible. And in that moment, I had been feeling that this diagnosis was my fault and that I was somehow failing him because he couldn't do many of the things that children are supposed to do. And I pictured his face, and he looked so perfect to me, and that little twinkle in his eye. And I thought, you know what, Renee? You made him. There's a bit of him that came from you. And if he is that wonderful, maybe there's a little bit, just maybe like a tiny little spark of that in you. And the moment I felt that, my heart, I thought my ribs were breaking. My heart expanded with so much love, not only for him, but like some for myself. And after that happened to me, it was much easier for me to keep my focus on the possibility, but not only for him, because I started to see that I was doing better. And as I was doing better, he was doing better, because these kids, they co-regulate with you. You know, if your nervous system is messy, their nervous system is twice as messy. And so as I got better, he got better, and as he got better, I got better. And things escalated. And I am so happy to say now that my little boy that could not leave our home, is out in the world. And that is an answered prayer for me, because I had two goals as I was healing him. I thought, I want to be able to walk out this door, not in distress and torment. I want to see him want to leave this house because he feels safe. And I want to stand in the driveway and feel the sun on us and know that this is not a fleeting moment, that this is a possibility for every day for the rest of his life. And I also thought, I love him, and he was comfortable with me. I mean, we were attached at the hip, literally. And I just wanted the world to see him, to know him. I was even aiming low. I thought maybe like 5 or 6 people, if they could just know him, and he would talk with them and connect with them, and they would get to see a bit of that beauty in his heart. But I was aiming low, and I've learned not to aim low. I'm going to aim high from now on. And about 3 weeks ago, we homeschool, and we're part of this beautiful little community of these little tortured geniuses, you know, they blow my mind. And we had scheduled this event to go to a park, and I was so happy because we're going to go to a park with other people, and he's excited about it. And then we're from Colorado, the thunder, the rain, you know, it was on top of a mountain. Nobody wanted to go. They were afraid they were going to get struck dead. And so we were a little disappointed. So I asked my son, I said, hey, they're going to call off the event because of the thunder and lightning. What do you say we maybe offer to have everybody here at our house? And this was a stretch, because before this healing started to occur, there were 3 people that could come to our house. Myself, my husband, and sometimes my mother, his grandmother. Anybody else, he would hide like a feral animal under the table, and I would ask people to go. And pretty soon, I just quit asking people to come over. We were absolutely isolated. So I took a risk, and I asked him, I said, Sam, what do you think? There's going to be about 18 kids and their parents, at least 1 parent per kid, maybe 2. And maybe some of these kids have some siblings. What do you think? Would you like to have them come over so we can still have our get-together? He looked at me and he goes, yeah. And I was like, do you understand what this means? I want to explain one more time. There's going to be 18 kids, and that we've rearranged our house so our living room is like a Lego fantasy land. All of his stuff's out there. There's no way I can put it anywhere else. And he used to not want anyone to touch his things. His things were like his connection to happiness, and they were a part of him. He used to tell me, my memories are in those things. I don't want anybody else touching them. And so I said, I've got like 2 hours, so if these people come, they're going to be in our space. And I'm not going to be able to put away your things, maybe like a couple handfuls of special things. But all of your things are going to be out, and these are kids. And you know what happens with kids? They touch your stuff. They have no boundaries, usually. And so I said, do you understand that that's going to be part of this? And if these people come, it's going to be really hard to get them to leave. I can't just say, hey, we're not into it anymore. All of you 20-some people, hit the road. Hope you don't get struck by lightning, So I explained it to him in detail. And he said, yeah, that's okay. And I'm just thinking, oh my goodness, okay, belief in possibility. All right, let's do it. So we're sitting there, and a couple kids come in. It's okay. And of course, I'm on pins and needles just waiting for this to not be okay. A couple more kids come in. Some more kids come in. Parents and kids come in. We don't have a huge house. Our house was full to bursting with children. They were all up in his Legos, exploring. They were doing all the things. And he was just standing there with a huge, beautiful smile on his face. I could not believe it. And so I decided, watching him, because I didn't have quite that huge smile on my face. I was still kind of waiting for the bomb to drop. But I just looked at him, and again, that look of happiness in his face made me realize I need to quit worrying about this kid. This kid is living exactly what I hoped and more. And that's when I decided I'm not aiming low anymore. I'm not aiming low for him, and I'm not aiming low for me, because this work is a giver. And just when you think you got all you're going to get from it, you get a little bit more and maybe a lot more. And it doesn't stop. That heart opening I had, that was serious business. I was afraid to touch my chest for a couple of days. And I've had about, a couple handful more of those at this event. And I am certain that they're going to continue. This is, I guess, almost a year and a half later. And my son is a different boy. All of my health issues are gone. They're just gone. And my son is in the world. He is eating. He is sleeping beautifully for 11 hours a night. That went from 2 hours with me holding him to 11 hours. And so I get to meditate a lot because I just lay next to him and just boom the love. And it has transformed everything. And it's the only thing we did because we couldn't do anything else. We didn't go anywhere. We didn't take anything. We just did this. We connected to love, and it healed everything.
She changed along the way and started feeling less lack, less desperation, more love, more wholeness. The heart is the creative center, and it's going to cause the brain to dream of a new possibility. It's the way it is. As she moved closer to pure love, she moves closer to source. Greater frequency, greater consciousness, it can begin to nurture and heal all kinds of things in the morphogenic field, in the field around all living things. The greatest part of the story is that the moment you leaned down and you saw your young son smiling at you with all the people at your house, that was the vision that you had of your future. You seeing him smiling from that image, you said, how do I want to see him? And you had that moment where you actually looked at him and you got that smile in his face. You were in that future. That's how powerful we are when we make up our mind to create. Congratulations, your life has changed because of you.
Thank you.